Hi, Eva Nichols here in the studio today. I'm playing around a little bit with some new paper that I got from my niece Katja in Denmark. Thank you, Katja. She gave me a pack of the Shizen Design Professional Grade Watercolor Paper, cold pressed, internally sized, acid free, 100% rag paper. 10 sheets of this in round paper, and you can see it has beautiful ragged edges, it's 100% recycled from post-consumer waste, made in India, and 100% ragged means cotton as far as I know. So I was going to try this round paper today, and she also gave me 5 sheets of and it's 300 grams, 140 pounds, 9 by 12. So I thought, you know, I've never demoed on round paper before. Have I painted on round paper before? No, I don't think I have. I've painted mandalas, but I still painted them on a square. All right, so I don't know if you can see it. I did a very light little pencil sketch of a rose. I have never painted on this paper before, so I'm really curious to see how it behaves. That would be very exciting. So I already got my couple of puddles out. I got a couple of puddles of my nickel azure yellow or transparent yellow, whatever brand you have. It's PY 150, which is my favorite yellow. And then I got the Daniel Smith Quinacridone coral out. And let's just see how this goes. I should decide where I have my light source. Let's have our light source coming from here. All right, so I am going to wet one petal at a time. Oops, I didn't get all the color out, I guess. So I have no idea how much it's going to soak up or not, or what. So the thing with the rose petals is they're always darkest at the bottom of the petal, because it's tugging under, and then it's lightest at the edge. So I'm going to give the edge a little bit of sunshine, so that's why I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in first here, a little bit like that, and then I'm not even going to rinse out the brush, and then I'm going to go in here and get the coral on, and then just kind of let it blend out. Rinse out my brush a little bit, and just like that. Okay, one petal, then we have to skip one. So I start from the outside and go and work my way in. I think that's the easiest. And then I put a little bit of water on here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow on here, especially right on that top part. So I'm putting the yellow on as I'm thinking of it as my sunshine. So, and then the coral, let that blend out like that. And moving right along, I think I can do this one because I don't think that's really touching the other one. To make sure I've got my brush not too wet. And I'm going to put a little bit of that yellow on right there. And then I'm going to get my coral. And now it's going to get a little bit darker away from the light. I could actually dab in a little bit more, but I was kind of timid here. Still wet here, so I think I can get away with it. Okay. And then just blend it out. Like that. All right. And the next one. So here do the same thing. And here I'll go in with a coral. Maybe a little tiny bit of the yellow, but not very much. Just so it gets a little bit of that orangey glow. And let's do it darker here. And there. There. And we're moving around. Can't paint that one because it's touching. So let's do this big old one. Okay. So that's definitely away from the light on the opposite side. So I'm wondering, I'm kind of feeling I should put in, let's get a little bit of that purple out I have here. I'm painting with the Sterling Edwards palette that I prepared. So let's get a little bit of purple out, why not? And dab that in with the with the coral to darken the color and cool it down a little bit. There. And now I'm going to rinse it out. Bring out the color. Dab in a little bit more of the coral there. It's going to be a loose rose. Just, wanted to see how this paper reacts. It's so exciting. And it's, it's very, very bumpy. It's just like rough paper, I would say. And it feels like handmade. What did it say? What did it say? Cold pressed, that's all it said. But anyway, it's definitely has a lot more texture than cold pressed paper does. So just dab in a little bit of that purple there. Let that go out. And then let's see, where are we? We are, so this one I can't paint because it's touching. This one I think I might be able to paint this little one here. Yeah, it's touching too much. Yeah, it's touching too much. So let's go in and find another one we can paint. We can paint this one. And so here, again, same, I always paint my roses like this, almost always. If I paint this type of a rose, it's super loose, I don't do like this, but. So I want to put a little bit of that yellow on here, on the edge, like here. And rinse that out. And then go in and put some of the coral on. Just darker in here, there. And then I'm going to rinse it out. And then just kind of get it out to the edges. I'm going to have that a bit lighter right here on the edge of the petal. I want to keep it lighter. There. Okay. And I think I can paint this one here. Too much water. And put a little tiny bit of yellowish on here. And then we'll put some coral on. The bottom here. rinse it out and combine the colors, keeping it lightest at the edge. Always lightest at the edge. There. I think I can put a little bit more coal in here. There. Just let it mix and mingle. I'll let that dry a little bit and then I can go back and do the remainder. So then we have in here, that's kind of dark. So I think I'm just going to go with some of that coal with a little bit of the purple. Get that in. It's like inside a petal and it's kind of folded over on two sides. So get that little thing in. There. Get a little bit more coal on. Purple, kind of give it that darker appearance. There. Especially here. There. And then here we kind of also see the outside a petal that's more blue. Get a little bit more of the coal on the other side here. Let that run together. I'm going to get all those separations. And then we can always build up the darks once we kind of have established all the parts. So let's paint this other little petal. Have the coal on. Just pure coal here. And then I'm going to rinse it out and just pull it out to a light edge here. Give it maybe a hint of sunshine right here on the edges. There. And now I think I want to go in and establish that center that's really dark. And I do want to put a few little bits of masking fluid on to save the whites of the stamen. They're going to be mainly dark, but there's going to be some light. So, I'll grab my masking fluid here. Use a little stencil like that. That'll be good. And you know, if you didn't have masking fluid or you forgot about it, then you know that's where a white gel pen comes in handy. So we've got to let that dry before we touch it. So let's put a little bit of water inside here and put some of that coal on. balance it out. Maybe put a tiny bit of the yellow on here. And there. And then I want to take a little bit of the purple and just dab it in there in the deepest area there. Make sure it doesn't run into the yellow. Lift out there. And I'm going to lift out a little bit here. There. Getting pretty close. Where can we paint? We can paint that side there. So here is a little petal that is turning over, so put some of the coal on. And then put a little bit of the yellow on here. And then rinse my brush out. And actually I think I want to go in with a smaller brush. Clean. And then pull this out so we get a light edge here. And a little bit darker here. There. And I think we can go in on this edge here. So now I'm doing it on dry. Rinse out my brush. Pull that out. Rinse out my brush. Dab it and pull it out a little bit more. Yeah. There. Just that. Possibly go in and darken a little bit. A couple of these places. While it's still damp. So give a little bit of that texture on. And here we have just a little bit. A little petal here. And I'm using just the coal. And then I'm pulling it in like this. Gets a little bit more convoluted when you get into the center there. And there's a dark area right here. A little triangle like that. I want to get that on. Put a little bit more there. Coal in. And here I'm going to also put a little bit of that in. And then on this side that. And on this edge here. just have a few little things left. There's a little petal here that's bent over. We'll give it some call. And then the tip here, I think we'll want to give it a little bit the yellow. I'll rinse out my brush really well. And then we have the center, which is almost dry, so we can get in there. And then we have one more petal, and I can't paint that right now either because this here is still wet. Things are dry enough for me to get the last couple of little petals painted. So let's do it. While I waited for it to dry, I went out and I peeled some red beads, so my hands are a mess now. But I'm hoping it's not showing up too much, but that's what happens. So let's see here. So put a little bit of the yellow one here and here. Just get the, that's the last of the petals. The petals, that's the last of the petals. So we are making some progress. Once you have the first layer on, it gets a little easier, I find, in the first go around on a rose like this. It is a little complicated because you kind of get lost in where things are and stuff, at least I do. But it's just, you just gotta persevere and you'll start making sense. At least we hope so, right? So there's that one. Gave it a little extra oomph. And then we come to the dark one, the dark area with a little so actually I should just make it dark. Shouldn't really put all that water on. So here, and I'm going to put even more of that purple on. And now I can see where I put the masking on, it's showing up. I think I have a little too much water on here. Soak that up and do things a little darker. There. And some more of that red in there too. Don't want to make it like purple inside, just dark. And I might even put a little bit, had a little bit of Payne's Gray, just dab some of that in there. There's that. Boom, boom. And then we'll have to let that dry. I really like the paper. It's behaving quite well. It's behaving quite well. So there's a little bit darker there. You can kind of see this thing. It's like you can see a little bit the outside of the petal here. It's kind of turning a little bit there. And where else do I have some areas where I really feel it would be helpful to just straight away go in and do something a little darker. For instance there. So I'm using the Quinacridone coral, and then it's darkened and made a little bit cooler with the Winsor violet, which is dioxazine. So now I know I can just go in and then darken at the bottom of all the petals, and that'll automatically give them more pizzazz. And I do that on dry paper, and then I go in and loosen the edges. I find that's the easiest way to handle that. So just be careful that you don't go too far so that things dry like that, because that's not going to look very attractive. I want to have that seamless transition. Can you see how it just starts building up? So let's go in here. Like that. And I think I'll take my number 8 and use that to loose the edge. So you do that just with getting the tips into the wet paint and then move it out with a damp brush. And then rinse it and continue until there's no edge. So I want to get that same color on this side. Have it. And just loose the edge. The brush was a little too wet. There. I'm going to just, while it's still damp, you can go in and just kind of put your tip of the brush in, and it'll deposit a little bit more paint, and you'll get that darker color in, and it spreads by itself, so it makes it easy. Go in and darken it a little bit here. And loose the edge. And here would also be good. I want to have a little redder here. coming from there. And so this little turnover will definitely cast a shadow. So it's dry there and in the center, and I'm going to give it some more little stamens before I put the next coat of paint on. I think it'll be good to have some in this darker color, but it'll still stand out as a little bit lighter than the first ones we put on. I think it's dry enough to put that really dark layer on there. I'll go down and really make it dark there. Alright, I think it's time to wrap this rose up, so I'm going to take the masking fluid off first. And you can see, there we have it. I think it all came off, yeah, it did. And I don't really want those white dots there. I would like to tone them a little yellow. and just run my brush over a little bit like that, just so it's not so in your face. There you have it. And then there's just a few more really dark spots that I wanted to bring out. And I'm going to use my Quinacridone red and my permanent magenta. And there's like a little, so it'll just be little tiny dark spots at this point, and then we'll get a little bit of them. Some background painted in. We need some greens, I feel, and that should take care of it. And now I'm going to put a little bit of the Antwerp blue into my permanent magenta to get those real darks. Dab in there a little bit. I think I want to go in here. Just darken that spot a little bit. And you know, it's one of those things you can tinker around with it forever if you'd like. But this was really to test out this paper, and I like it. It behaves pretty well. So it's kind of fun to paint on. It's definitely a lot more textured than the arches. But that was, you know, to be expected. I knew that was going to be the case. And so it's not very good for like a really precise botanical renderings and stuff. So it'll be much better for more interpretive work, more impressionistic is what I'm trying to say. So there's also here get a little bit of darkness here around this one, on this side. And just always make sure you lose the edges, that's really important. And I think this is getting pretty close. It was one of those things, if you can't think of anything else to do, that usually means that you're done. I mean, I could be tinkering around with this one for a lot longer, but I'm not going to. Of course, I think less is more sometimes. There. I want to get a couple more of those nice reds in. Maybe in here. There. And you know, I've sped the video up in some places for you so you didn't get bored out of your wits, out of your mind. So I think I'm gonna leave it like that for now, and then let's get some greenery. And I think I would like to do it like this, and just going to put in a stem here, and again I'm going to leave that very, very loose. Already did the flower pretty tight actually. And then let's put a little bit of the yellow in. I'm using the Antwerp blue and the Quinacridone gold for my green. And then I think I'll be dabbing in just a little bit of red to kind of tone it down a little bit. And I'm going to take my rigger brush create some nice stems. And then I'm going to take this brush here and just do some little leaves. Nice green, not too bright. And roses, they have these little serrated edges on their leaves. And let's just put some leaves behind some of these areas. Again, I want to try and get those edges in. Little prickly edges. Darken there. And get some more greenery behind. Some of these rose petals. Just for a little pop of color. I think I want to use my credit card to pull out a couple of thorns, and with the pointy part I can put in some of those veins. Just let that dry and say we had enough fun with this one here. So overall, I can totally see myself painting on this paper in the future. Really like it. I think it's better suited actually for a little bit of a looser style than what I did with the rose there. If I was going to paint a rose next time, I would probably just do a really loose rose. Okay, I think I'll call this one done. It's probably a little too cutesy for my actual style, but I just thought it was fun to try and show you how to paint on this paper from Shizen Design, and in the circle, that's, you know, changes up the framing options, and what I think I would do is probably find a colored mat, like for instance the one I have here. I think that could be a nice background, and then I would frame it floating, and then in a square, let me just zoom out, in a square mat like that. And then I would probably have to either get something behind the mat so it'll cast a little bit of a shadow, or I'll put some little strips so that the glass doesn't touch my artwork. But that's probably the easiest way to frame something like this. And I definitely had fun painting on this paper. It does react a little bit different than arches, and you know, it's a little bit more unpredictable, and I do think that it soaks up maybe a little bit more of the colors. What I like too is that I got that, and I should have thought about that earlier, but oh well. I do like the texture I got on the leaves from spraying in when the paint was beginning to dry. That makes them not so perfect. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and ring, click the little bell so that you get notifications when I have new demos coming up. And I also have classes on Skillshare if you're on that platform, and I also am a guest instructor on Birgit O'Connor's website on her online watercolors class or school, I guess it is, on Teachable. So hope to see you on one platform or another, and let me know if there's anything you'd like me to show you. I'm always open for suggestions, as long as it's watercolor or watercolor pen and ink. That's my medium. So happy painting, and see you soon.